It's your boy Oakley, and today I'm about to do yet another Mario What If. This is What If Deku had Miles' powers part 2. Seems that people like it, and I really don't know what to do. I I have no ideas. So so we left this off right before the hero versus villains in the USJ and the sports festival. So let's get into that. This would pretty much all start off with them with the class in there, and all might come through. He pretty much explained the hero versus villains, and they pretty much start to team. And it's Deku, Momo, and Todoroki and Bakugo. Deku and Momo, they would pretty much run up to the 3rd floor around that mark, and Bakugo would come through. Deku would turn invisible, and Momo would go upstairs, and they would start their fight. Deku would pretty much slip onto a wall, electrocute Bakugo in the back. Bakugo's throwing explosions, but he still can't see. He can't see Deku, so Deku's just easily bodying him. No, this takes no effort at this point, and eventually Bakugo just throwing around random explosions. Deku would get his spider sense, and he would get hit by it. B would get hit by it, and his invisibility would kind of glitch out, so you can kind of still see him. But he would kind of like that. And Bakugo would basically throw his biggest attack now that he sees Deku, and Deku would just pull him towards it with his webs and flip over him and let the webs go as the explosion would explode Bakugo and himself, with basically knocking him out. He would pretty much, he's knocked out. He gets captured, and Deku pretty much swings up to, the top, swing up to the ceiling, and he pretty much busts in the ceiling door, the roof door. He would basically bust open the roof door, and he would basically see Momo and Todoroki pretty much fighting. Momo got her staff. She's swinging it around. Todoroki using his ice to try to block it. They throwing hands. Todoroki would basically kick the staff into a wall, so it's stuck into a wall now. And they're pretty much still fighting. Momo can't get it because she's fighting Todoroki. Deku would, basically jump down, swing the staff, pretty much, web the staff and swing it towards Todoroki's head. As Todoroki would duck, Momo would take it, pretty much hit Todoroki in the side once he comes up. And now he's boxed into this corner where, Deku and Momo are just fucking him up. So, he pretty much gets bodied real quick as they pretty much celebrate as they capture Todoroki. Hero team wins, and other matches would happen pretty easily. But, at the end of the day, after doing all that work and that stuff, they get told about, the USJ and how they're going to be going in 3 days. Time skip to 3 days later, after regular school stuff, they would go to the USJ. They would all pile up on the bus, but for some reason, Deku, when he gets closer and closer to the USJ, the more his head starts to ring with that spidey sense. So, when they get to Deku to talk about his quirk, Deku just says it's pretty much spider, and he just does whatever a spider can do. So he just can walk on walls and just shoot webs, and he can electrocute people and turn invisible, which that's cool and all, but I don't know how a spider has that ability. But mainly Spider-Man stuff. So Deku would pretty much, be at the USJ. And this point, his head is just off the fucking clock, bro. He's going crazy. And, he basically would alert Aizawa. He would basically be like a foot away from him. He would pretty much walk up to him. And he would say, I don't think we should be here because I think somebody's coming. As Aizawa, with knowing of Deku's abilities, he would quickly understand what's going on. As he would say, students evacuate the building. As they would do that on the clock, the villains would come out the portal. Aizawa would run in. Aizawa, 13, Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki, they would all run in. I guess, yeah, those people would run in. And the rest of the students just out there being useless. So, yeah, they pretty much doing that. Deku would basically, Deku and Aizawa are pretty much a little team, and Bakugo and Todoroki are their own team. So, they're putting in good hands. Aizawa pretty much using his scarf to bring people towards him, pretty much kicking them, doing all types of shit. And Deku is working pretty good with him because of his Spider-Man quirk, pretty much copying the moves that Aizawa does, like bringing them towards him, but he would put his own spin on it. Yeah, so he's pretty much would pull somebody towards him and pretty much jump in the air while they're pretty much being pulled towards him and pretty much slam him on the ground, putting his own thing at the end of each move that he copies. So he's pretty much seeing Aizawa's moves and he's doing them in his own way. And they're clapping cheeks. Like, they're in full harmony. Aizawa over there dealing with 3 people, he would just jump over him, take one guy out, and he'll just assist with the other guy, and Aizawa just handles one other guy. Like, bro, they're just getting bodied. So when Shigaraki pull up on Aizawa, he try to touch him. Deku just web his hand, and Shigaraki just basically decays the web, and what's his name? Aizawa can get away and use his scarf and pretty much slam him. Shigaraki tries to decay the scarf. As Deku, he can realize that Shigaraki has some type of disintegration quirk or something like a decay. He pretty much realizes by the second time he uses it that it has to have 5 fingers on the object or something to actually, decay it. So he would basically start going in on him. He would inform Aizawa about it, and they would basically make this plan of moving up on him and just fucking moving fast enough, or just helping the other person get out of the situation where he's about to touch them. So yeah. So pretty much Deku is pretty much running up on Shigaraki. He pretty much uses webs to pull Shigaraki towards him. As Aizawa just looks at him. They make that eye-to-eye contact for that 1 second, loses his quirk. So Shigaraki tries to use it on Deku, but it doesn't really work. So Deku just pretty much knees him in the face, slaps him away, as he can't do nothing to him. Aizawa would basically tie him down with the scarf that he can't really get out of. Only Aizawa can pretty much, use it. So that's when Shigaraki will try to call out the Nomu for Kirigiri to open the portal. As Aizawa is wondering what the fuck a Nomu is, Deku would basically be like, okay, who's next? As the Nomu comes out the portal and it just walks up on Deku. as Shigaraki would say, kill that kid, as it would just pick Deku up from the head and literally yeet him into the wall. As all he can think, as he's in a crater in the wall, he's next. So, he's barely getting up. He's over there holding his head. And Aizawa basically has to run over to Deku and he'll try to help him out because he's finna get hit again in the head. And he ain't trying to have a fucking fine on his head. Yeah, I just messed up my sentence, but Deku is about to get punched in the head because the Nomu is coming towards him, while Deku is pretty much still in that crater in the wall. And Aizawa gotta save him because he's not trying to have this man to die. So, yeah. So, yeah. Aizawa, he pretty much blinks and erases the Nomu's quirk. And the Nomu is still strong, so it pretty much punches Aizawa away, breaks his jaw, and Shigaraki can use his quirk again, so he's out and about, and pretty much all you hear, like all Deku saw is Nomu coming up, Aizawa get hit, and ever since that happened, he been hearing this beeping sound. It seems that it's coming from his jacket that Miles gave him. And but once he looks at it, he sees that it's a beeping light as the Nomu's over there beating up Aizawa. So it's pretty much, he looks at this beeping light and it turns green. Then all you can hear is just glass come down from the fucking sky, as it's literally Miles coming in to help Deku in this situation. So Deku would smirk, and Miles would help him up, and they would basically initiate that tag team on the Nomu. So yeah, Miles was basically using the webs to basically tie the Nomu down, pretty much swinging around him, and Deku coming through on the brain, because he realizes from, Aizawa's in the Nomu's fight, that Aizawa can do some fucking damage. Aizawa's still strong for somebody who doesn't have a strength quirk. And it doesn't seem like the Nomu's getting phased at all. Matter of fact, it's looking like it has shock absorption. Because when Miles punched it, it made a hole through it, but it regenerated. And even Miles said he barely got through. So Deku would put the pieces together, and he would realize, what makes you heal? The brain. If you don't got a brain, you can't really do anything. So Deku, when Miles pretty much tied the Nomu down, Deku would jump on the shoulders of the Nomu and electrocute the brain, as Miles is pretty much electrocuting the webs too. So the Nomu pretty much gets fried. All Might come through, and he sees, All Might come through, and he just sees Deku there. But no, Miles is gone. He ain't trying to get caught because Miles is not a hero. He's pretty much, he would be classified as a vigilante. So he can't just be out and about just doing shit. So yeah, Miles had to come through. So Deku basically greet All Might, but he pretty hurt, so he would fall out as the Nomu is on there fried. He just sees Shigaraki and Kirigiri dip as he leaves the rest of the low tier villains, and they're tied up and pretty much bodied by Aizawa and Deku. So eventually, throughout time, Deku would get back up, and Deku would get back up because he is Spider-Man. He ain't staying down forever. That's pretty much the Spider-Man thing to do. So yeah, Aizawa get healed, he get healed. No, we all good now. It's a family reunion. So yeah, Deku pretty much, we go to fucking Degama Beach, and he would basically see Miles there. He would basically chill with him, train a little bit, and do Spider-Man stuff, like that. So yeah, he would pretty much come back to UA after that 2 week little vacation off of school, just to recuperate, just to live your life. So yeah, he come back from that, and yeah, he kind of famous now. He basically did it all by himself. He could have did it all by himself. It just took slightly longer. He'll probably go in Todoroki and get no fame. So pretty much, yeah, he come back. They get told about how the sports festival about to be in 5 days. Time skip to 5 days later. They are piling up on a bus. They get to the stadium, and they're all lined up, and they have a Class 1A representative. Deku show up. He pretty much gives some inspirational Spider-Man speech and dip. Everybody clap, cause why not? It's Spider-Man. Somebody gotta give him his credit. Now on to the race. Deku has this in the bag. So yeah. He pretty much is just doing his thing. Like, he's faster than Ida. Like, he was like a little slower than Ida before Spider-Man's powers, because he was training. But before that, he was a little slower than Ida. But now with the Spider-Man powers, he's a lot faster than Ida. So he can just run past anybody. Plus he got webs. So yeah. He would just yeet himself over that ice. And where the zip line would come, he would pretty much just yeet himself over that too with the webs. And where the mines were, and so were the robots. He kind of just used the robots to basically use his webs and swing over the mines and pretty much get first place easy. So on to the cavalry battle with this powerhouse team, bro. So I'm putting Deku, Momo, Deku, Momo, Hatume, and Tokiyami. Because Deku is going to be basically actually running. He's going to be carrying. But, Tokiyami is going to be in the back, shielding everything in the back. Basically shielding, the headband with his black shadow or dark shadow. And he would give a web shooter to Mei Hatume, because she's a tech whiz, so she would know how to use it. And yeah, Deku. So she can just whip over a web to people's headbands, take it from them. That's what they pretty much doing. So they're pretty much getting headbands, and no one can steal their headbands, so it's too easy for them. They get first place, plus they have the 10 million points, plus other people's headbands too. So they're doing pretty good for themselves. As that's pretty much the end for the cavalry battle. On to Deku and Shinzo's match. Deku basically walk up, and Shinzo he walking up, and they're doing the start with fight, and Shinzo he talking that junk. So he's like, oh, you're so lucky. You have a good quirk. Oh, you're so lucky, man. You're so lucky, man. You don't know how it feels to have a bad quirk. As Deku just ain't trying to hear this shit. He ain't trying to hear whatever he gotta say, because he ain't have a quirk. He still don't even got a quirk. He just got these Spider-Man powers, man. Hey, honestly, he can just use it forever. A quirk has a limit to how long you can use it. So Deku technically can only really he can't really tire out his power. So Deku ain't trying to hear his shit, so he would just web his mouth. As if Shinzo don't ask the question, Deku can just say whatever the fuck he wants. Because if he can't ask the question, Deku can't answer something that's not a question. So yeah. He pretty much gets a web on his mouth. Shinzo can't really take it off. He don't understand what's going on. and Deku just jumped right towards him, punch him in his face. Shinzo would fall out. Yeah, and he pretty much would dip, and yeah, he pretty much finishes that real easy. There's really nothing else that he could actually do for Shinzo. I mean, he all he really had to do was punch him once. He ain't had to do him like that. So all he could really do to Shinzo was just punch him, because Shinzo he kind of he's not strong at all. So there's no reason to actually do anything much other than punch him. So Deku would basically be on the stands watching the other fights, like Bakugo versus Uraraka, Momo versus Tokoyami. Momo, she wouldn't lose, because yeah, she was training on that 2 weeks, because they actually knew about the sports festival by then. Yeah, so yeah. So she would actually beat Tokoyami. Uraraka, I'll say that she started trying to use her quirk in a different way. So she pretty much started to learn how to use gravity instead of just zero gravity. So she can just make stuff she can just make stuff have more weight. So if she were to like she does, she touches Bakugo, pretty much makes him won't move because he has so much weight on him. But she would win that, and bye.